Hey Canucks fans, welcome to Clay's Canucks commentary for Sunday, February the 10th. I'm Clay Emo, I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter, I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram, I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. I'm in a really good mood, got my hair cut, I was looking a little shaggy in yesterday's video, just got back from the Canucks open practice for season ticket members. I almost won a prize. I'll get to that in a second. If you follow me on Twitter, you already know about that. But let's talk about last night's game, first of all. A 4-3 victory, a very exciting, intense, entertaining shootout victory over the Calgary Flames. 4-3, the same Calgary Flames that are atop the Western Conference. And I made a video yesterday saying how this could be a preview. Last night's game could have been a preview of a first-round playoff matchup. Some people agreed, got excited. Some other people are saying, oh, Clay, you're getting way too ahead of yourself. The Canucks won't make the playoffs. But hey, as the founder of the GLCPC, I have to be positive. I have to be optimistic. And yeah, a lot can happen in the next 2 months leading up to the second week of April when the playoffs start. But if the Canucks end up first or second wild card and the Flames end up first or second in the division or a division winner, this could very well be a first-round playoff matchup. And the Canucks matchup, they play the Flames well. They've taken 3 out of the 4 games against them this season. So I'm not saying that's going to happen in the playoffs. Playoff hockey is a different beast. And Calgary did dominate last night's game, but the Canucks found a way to win. They found a way to win because of Jacob Markstrom. 44 saves on 47 shots. Only one that he'd like to have back, probably the second one that was batting, bouncing all over the place. Not sure why the Canucks demon didn't try and bat it away with their hands as opposed to their sticks. But I know it happens very quickly. The other 2 goals that beat Markstrom were cross-ice passes, one-timers. Not much he could do. But I love his competitive nature. He said it wasn't his best game as a Canuck. It wasn't by far because he led in 3 goals. So good on him, but he's arguably the co-MVP of the team along with Elias Pettersson. I've always said that the Canucks' big 3 have to be successful for the Canucks to be successful, and they were last night. Pettersson had 2 assists, also had a goal in the shootout. He was the only scorer in the shootout, but those don't count in the stats. So with Pettersson's 2 assists, he now has 50 points even, 25 goals, 25 assists, in only 45 games played, so still over a point per game pace, clear of all the other rookies, and continuing to impress hockey fans in Vancouver and across the league. And I love it. Every time the Canucks are on Hockey Night in Canada, you know that the panel of Amber and Kyprios and Rudy and Friedman are going to talk about Pettersson nonstop, and we love it as Canucks fans. Most deserving of those accolades. So Pettersson, again, 1 goal in the shootout, which doesn't count in the stats, but 2 assists, including a really nice setup to Brock Boeser, which I'll get to in a second. The 3 goals by the Canucks, Bo Horvat scored less than a minute in. Really nice goal, and it was actually off a Anton Roussel face-off when Horvat got thrown out of the face-off circle. Roussel back to Tanev. Tanev, really nice feed across the slot to Horvat. Horvat put it in, and that was the 1-0 goal. Josh Levo scored a little later, also in the first period. A nice snapshot from the slot with Brock Boeser going towards the net, maybe distraction, screen, whatever it may be. And that was a really nice goal by Levo. He's played very well in the last couple weeks. And then Brock Boeser, the game-tying goal in the third period. Beautiful play by Pettersson. He held the puck for 10 or 11 seconds. I timed it. Started in his own end at the face-off dot, went around the net, looked and saw 2 or 3 Canucks players changing, and Boeser was the last of those guys. Boeser actually said that he tried to duck. I'm not sure how effective that is, but he was still the last man and snuck in. Beautiful cross-ice pass from Pettersson and a nice wrist shot from Boeser to send it into overtime. So yes, again, the Canucks' big 3 were indeed their best players, and they need to be for the Canucks to be successful. Horvat and Boeser each with 22, 23 minutes of ice time. Pettersson right behind with 21 minutes of ice time. On the back end, Troy Stecher was a nice, he did well on the power play, the Canucks' first power play unit. Although they didn't score, they looked dangerous. They had a few good chances, especially Brock Boeser. Boeser had 7 shots. No other Canuck had more than 2 shots on net. Boeser had 7 shots, really finding his game. But Troy Stecher played well in the first power play unit, and he had 26 minutes of ice time. Ben Hutton coming off a 31-minute game. He was down to almost normal. He was down to 25 minutes, still a lot. So Stecher and Hutton, 51 minutes in between the 2 of them. Low man on the totem pole when it came to ice time, Marcus Granlund, only 8 minutes of ice time yesterday. So we'll see if he stays in the lineup. That's something I'm going to talk about in a couple minutes. So again, a great victory for the Canucks last night. A lot of other teams, though, won in the Western Conference playoff race, so they need to keep winning to keep pace. It looks like St. Louis continues their hot streak, so they will likely be the 7th team. So I think the Canucks will be fighting actually with the Wild, I see, maybe. And the Wild and the Avalanche, for the 8th spot. They're still the Oilers, the Coyotes, the Ducks, the Kings, the Blackhawks, all those other teams. But I have a feeling it's to be Vancouver and Minnesota fighting for that 8th spot. Along with Colorado. I think St. Louis may continue their strong play and finish in the 7th if St. Louis doesn't even catch Dallas for 3rd overall in the Central. Okay, so that's last night. Today, I was at the season ticket member open practice. So about 1,000 people there. Brought my son Sean, and you could tell the Canucks were in a really good mood because they're winning. They won last night, but they're very jovial. The most jovial I've seen them at practice. That not Thatcher Demko. Well, he was out because he's injured. But Jacob Markstrom had the day off, and deservedly so after a massive game yesterday. So Mike DiPietro took a lot of the reps in practice. He looked good. I love his work ethic. I love his competitive nature, even in practice. Not a mean-nothing practice, but in a practice. But the Canucks were really funny. They were in a really good mood. Things I really noticed. Antoine Roussel loves to chirp. He loves to celebrate goals, even into empty nets at practice. So he's a lot of fun. He seems to really keep the guys loose. By the way, he did a great job on Hockey Night in Canada last night after hours. And as I did a video, a vlog on him 2 or 3 days ago, talking about how he's quickly becoming one of my favorites, and I'm sure one of the fan favorites in the city. Very reminding us of maybe the attitude and the work ethic of Alex Burrows. So Antoine Roussel was a lot of fun. Right at the start of the practice, Besser and Beagle were pretending to play fight, giving each other shots in the back, light shots with, with their sticks. So that was kind of fun. Malhotra, the only coach wearing a helmet, which makes sense given his history with his eye injury. He was playing D on basically a 5-on-1 drill because the Canucks were just working on their zone pressure and keeping the puck in, and then guys were pretending to hit Malhotra. Of course, they're not going to hit Malhotra. And Travis Green was on the ice. Nolan Baumgartner was on the ice. Neil Brown was on the ice. It was a really good practice. And the other thing that I really noticed was Pettersson and Besser together. They have a lot of chemistry, obviously, when they're playing games, but even in practice, they're always joking around. There's one memorable exchange where they're in the middle of the ice and they're passing to each other they're basically seeing who could break each other's hands with their passes. They're really hard passes, and they're only 5 or 6 feet across, apart from each other. So that was kind of funny, and they were just kind of passing it very hard. I find those kind of things funny. Maybe you have to be there is one of those things. But overall, it was really fun. And then we get to the end of practice. We play that heads or tails game. All 1,000 people stand up. You got to choose. They flip a coin. You got to choose heads, or you got to choose. Change the lighting. You got to choose heads. You got to choose tails by putting your hands behind your back. I went with heads for like the 6 or 7 straight times. It was head. Then it started to become a couple of tails. And after 12 rounds, there were only 2 people left standing, me and this other guy. So he said to me, he was good. He proactively said to me, you can choose what you want. So I chose heads because up until that point, about 90%, I think it was 10-2. It was heads over tails. And then he chose tails. And alas, Canuck legend Thomas Gradin flipped it. Joey Kenward announced that it was tails. So I lose. The other guy wins. I shake his hand. I return to my seat in shame. And the guy Mark, he won a pair of tickets to a Canucks game in Club 500. So good for him. I outlasted 999 or 1,000 other people, but I couldn't outlast one guy at the very end. And it was kind of funny because like I said, he let me call a shot. So fate was in my hands. And I chose wrong. I chose wrongly, but that's okay. I will still stand by my choice of heads. Of course, we know simple math. It's 50-50 chance. That's the whole point of a coin, right? But I'll be okay to sleep tonight. I will not stay up all night. I will not lament my poor choice. And congratulations to Mark on winning that. And it was nice to be there. It's an easy way for the Canucks to fulfill one of the custom benefits for the season ticket members. Is just throw 1,000 of them in there for a practice. But it was great. And it was obviously nice to see the Canucks practicing after a win. The one other thing I want to talk about is while we are at practice, and they announced it at practice to some cheers, the Canucks have recalled forward Zack MacEwen from the Utica Comets. And a lot of people have been clamoring for this, especially in the last 2 weeks since the All-Star break. MacEwen's having a very good season in Utica. He's the 3rd leading scorer behind Reed Boucher and Tanner Carroll. He's got 42 points in 49 games. I think 24 of those are goals or so, more goals than assists. He has 49 penalty minutes in those 49 games, so he has the 2nd most penalty minutes on the team. Zack MacEwen, I was very impressed when I saw him in the summer during the little prospects the prospects more prospects summer showcase they called it, and I was very impressed with his hands. He's got really, really smooth hands for a big guy. He's 6'3", 6'4", listed at 210, 215. So he's a big body. And his skating, you know, with a guy that big, you always worry about his skating. And from everything I've read and seen, he's been really working on that this season. So you combine decent skating with good hockey awareness and hockey IQ and really nice hands and great size. You know, it sounds like I just, I kind of almost described Jake Virtanen, although I think Jake Virtanen's a better skater, but I'd say MacEwen maybe uses his size a bit more because he's a bit bigger than Jake is. Regardless, this is exciting news for the Canucks. I think that means Marcus Granlund's probably going to be in the hot seat. Tim Schaller, and I wonder what Tim Schaller's thinking. He's already can't get in the lineup. Now you have another guy coming up with Sven Berchi being out long-term, likely with his post-concussion syndromes. So Zack MacEwen gets called up. That means likely Tim Schaller still not going to see the ice, and that means I think it's going to either be Granlund or Goodobin. Those seem to be the two guys that get scratched. You're not really scratching a Mott or an Eriksson or you know, none of the centers, of course, Beagle or Sutter. So and then you know, Levo's been playing well, kind of thing for Tannen, likely not. So maybe it's Marcus Granlund that sits to get Zack MacEwen in an upcoming game, or maybe it's Nikolai Goodobin, depending on what Travis Green's feeling about him right now. But I don't see MacEwen playing in the top 6. He'd have to play in the bottom 6 somewhere, but there's a lot of ways they can always move Virtanen up to, you know, to put MacEwen in the bottom 6. Whatever it may be, imagine next year, you know, I see a lot of people talking about, this would be exciting to me, a third line of Adam Gaudette between Zack MacEwen and Jake Virtanen. You got speed, you got grit, you got some meanness there, some attitude, and some really good hands, some good offensive skill. And from 3 guys that maybe aren't known for their offense, but put them together, you never know what happens. Again, that would be cool to see Gaudette, Virtanen, and MacEwen. But that's down the road. Let's see what he does up here. Let's see if he gets into a couple games. Excited to see what comes of Zack MacEwen. Okay, there's a lot there. I'd love to read your comments below. If you want to comment about last night's game, Jacob Markstrom, the Calgary Flames, Elias Pettersson, whatever you want. You want to comment on the practice. I don't know if any, I think a couple of you were there. You already tweeted me about it. And have you ever been to Canucks practice? And do you like it? Do you kind of get bored of those kind of things? And then let's talk about Zack MacEwen. What do you expect? Do you think he'll get into games? And do you agree that it's likely Marcus Granlund or Nikolai Goodobin that would sit to get MacEwen in? Lots to talk about. Leave a comment below. I'd love to read, react, and reply. Subscribe if you like to. Like this video if you like to. I'm at the game tomorrow night with my lovely wife Gail to see the Vancouver Canucks take on the other Pacific Division powerhouse, San Jose Sharks. Imagine the Canucks dethrone the Sharks 2 days after dethroning the Flames. Those two teams will be shaking in their boots at the prospects of meeting the Canucks in the first round. Maybe not, but that's what I'd like to think. Have a great day. God bless, and go Canucks go.